Shabbat Shalom, family. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about the government, the Department of War, or the Pentagon, releasing UFO footage and documents that the government has had all this time. And I sat up last night, and before I even get to this, I want to say something. Um, I would like to thank everybody that you have made my second year anniversary in business phenomenal. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the lovely emails and all the well wishes. I deeply appreciate it. And I pray the Most High will bless you all 1,000 times over. Thank you. So I just want to say, I sat up and I looked at the footage of what was released by the government, and I am disappointed. What is the reason why the US government can't invest in decent cameras? Why can't you have better cameras on your jets and your satellites? Why do we always get these images of UFOs that are grainy, out of focus, or it's so dark you can barely see what's on the screen? Y'all spend trillions of dollars on a bunch of garbage most of the time, but you can't get a decent camera put on Navy jets that are spotting these UFOs. And when they come close to Earth, you can't get decent cameras on satellites. I just don't understand why we get such bad images all the time. Whether it's still shots or videos, it's always so lousy. And I'm really underwhelmed with what they have released. And yeah, DJ, like you said, let's get back to the Epstein files, because we know this is just another one of those distractions at the end of the day. It's just another distraction. So, y'all, I'm going to show you, and I'm sorry if I'm boring you with these images, but they are terrible. Now, one image was a little interesting. There was a circular sort of star-like image that popped up on the screen that they were able to capture. Now, that one was interesting, but all of the other ones, or the little glowing light flying around, I'm not impressed by that. Not very impressive. So, anyway, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
The Pentagon just released some footage of a UFO on the video. So there's been talks about, UFO sightings in the government for a while. So, Trump and the Pentagon, they just released some footage, and here's some footage. All right, here it is. I don't know why this is the crappiest footage. All right, so right here's this thing right here. And I'm confused because why didn't the Air Force pull up on this and shoot it down? Because usually anything in United States airspace gets drummed down. But yeah, this is it. The shape of it is weird. Okay, doing a little. It's moving fast. That's what's scary. Do y'all think it's real? Let me know. And thank you for watching. And please follow for more.
the Pentagon has finally started releasing UFO files, including transcripts, videos, images, and even one depicting what's believed to be an alien being. Let's start with a flying object. This does look super convincing at first glance, but very bright objects often look like this on FLIR footage. There is some kind of trail behind the object, though. Not entirely sure what to make of it. This, though, I would say is slightly more convincing, some kind of glowing orb flying in and around these wind turbines. Again, no concrete evidence of anything here, though. Now let's get to something a little more interesting, a flying disc that was reportedly found in Illinois with the text Russia on it. Now, this does not look at all super high-tech or of alien origin to me, but it is no doubt interesting nonetheless. And finally, what you're all here for, an image of a humanoid-looking being. At first, this is shocking, but reality is, this is from an image out of Mexico City in the 1950s that supposedly shows a UFO crew member, so it's nothing new.
What if everything they told you about UFOs was only part of the truth? Today, the Pentagon released new classified footage showing objects that even military analysts still can't fully explain. Some were tracked by infrared military sensors. Some moved in ways pilots described as impossible. And some cases remain officially unresolved. For decades, people who talked about UFOs were mocked, called crazy, ignored. But now the same governments that denied everything are releasing the files themselves. The question is no longer, are these objects real? Because the Pentagon already confirmed they are. The real question is, what are we actually looking at? Advanced secret technology, unknown intelligence, or something humanity was never supposed to understand? Maybe the truth has always been hidden in plain sight. And maybe we're only now beginning to wake up. Because once the government admits something unexplained is in our skies, everything changes.
In 2023, someone says they saw this appearing from nowhere, materializing instantly, and then disappearing. At this actual site, this graphic was overlaid over it, and today the US government released this and 80 years worth of files relating to UFO sightings. We're going to be looking through it all day, but one thing I found interesting so far is that a lot of them turned out to be meteors, but also it was a national security question during the Cold War. If you were on a military base and saw a UFO, the FBI wasn't thinking, oh, it's an alien. They were thinking, we might need to look into that for security reasons. Stay tuned throughout the day.
So, if you want to get weird on your Friday, the Pentagon just released some previously classified UFO files. The collection includes more than 160 files detailing more than 400 incidents from all around the world. Some of the most recent eyewitness statements were taken last year, while other cases date back to the 1940s. Among the files are incidents from the Apollo 11, Apollo 12, and Apollo 17 moon missions. During Apollo 12 in 1969, astronaut Alan Bean reported, quote, flashes of light that he described as sailing off into space. Officials say the release does not confirm extraterrestrial life, but supporters hope it gives the public a closer look at what the government has been investigating for years. So all of these files have been uploaded to a government website in which you can check out as well. More files are expected to be released in the coming weeks.
Today is Disclosure Day. Today is the day that the Pentagon is supposed to start releasing all its files regarding UFOs. I have a feeling that things are about to get a little weird. The files are being released in tranches and not in one huge data dump like the Epstein files. Maybe they're doing it that way because it's going to be a shock to the system for a lot of people. And this article discusses how it could impact major religions. This article also states that US intelligence officials met with high-profile pastors to tell them to prepare their congregations for what's coming. President Jimmy Carter had an encounter with a UFO, and when he became president, he vowed to release all the government files on UFOs, but he later recanted on that promise, citing national security concerns. After Jimmy Carter recanted on that promise, rumors started circulating that he had actually been debriefed by the CIA about aliens, and they confirmed that aliens exist. And they also told him that aliens said that all the major religions of the world were created by them because humans needed to be accountable to a higher power so they wouldn't destroy themselves. The story goes that this alleged debriefing moved President Carter to tears, and he realized he could not release this information to the public. I don't know about you guys, but I want to see these little dudes. How do you feel about alien disclosure? Leave me a comment.
So following President Trump's February order for the federal government to begin declassifying and releasing files, this morning, the Department of War issued a release. Department of War releases Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena files in Historic Transparency Act. So this morning's release is really just the beginning. It contains about 162 files of what's supposed to be the first of multiple releases over the coming weeks and months. And it really just contains what they call unresolved cases. So it's got some photographs, some eyewitness testimony and interview notes, cases where the federal government's like, yeah, we don't really know what this is, but they're showing it to you anyway. In fact, the New York Post has a pretty good article that summarizes some of the photographs and things that are included in the drop. You can go check this out if you want, or you can actually go to the Department of War website where they release the stuff. And just like they did with the Epstein files, they actually created a separate domain. If you want to see the images and you want to read through the notes, you can go to war.gov/UFO and you can filter through some of the photographs yourself. I'm just here to warn you, if you are looking for interview with an alien notes, you're not going to find it. But nonetheless, you can still click on these and you can download some of the documents and read them for yourself. Now, the New York Post pulled out some of the more interesting photographs and summarize them for you. Like this one right here is basically an FBI lab rendering of eyewitness testimony of a vessel that was reported. This one right here is really interesting because this is going to challenge some of the conspiracy theories out there right now that say that we never actually landed on the moon back in the 1970s, because this is supposed to be a photograph from the Apollo 17 mission from the surface of the moon looking into space, indicating that there's some type of odd triangle set of lights in the sky. Now, let's talk about this real quick, because this is what started turning over social media over the last several days. I'm sure you've heard the story or the statements that were released by a handful of Christian pastors who said that they were approached by a group of people connected to the government, including a sitting congressman, and part of that conversation included a story that they are preparing to tell us they are from another dimension and they are our creator, and that these beings, that they are the ones that seated us here, that there's no such thing as God. Jesus was invented by them, and so was the Bible. So I decided to look into this a little bit because my wife sent it to me. And the first place that I went was Timothy Alberino. If you don't follow Timothy Alberino on YouTube, you should be. This guy is incredible. He's one of the leading researchers in ufology and one of the most trusted voices in the entire industry today. And he put a statement out and he says, let me be clear. I am not aware of any official government sources or whistleblowers who are briefing Christian pastors. That narrative is nonsense. What does exist, though, are private UAP investigative groups that include individuals who happen to be evangelical Christians. And some of them are communicating this view to pastors behind the scenes. But it's important to note that they are doing nothing but communicating an opinion. So yes, the hysteria that has been ginning on social media over the last week, that we were going to learn that we were seeded from some alien life form from another planet, is exactly what I expected it to be. A bunch of propaganda, conspiracy theory, slop. And to the Christian community who are concerned that the possibility of alien life forms being real will somehow challenge our belief system, it won't. Because nowhere in the Bible does it deny the possibility that life exists beyond this planet.
Breaking news, May 8th, 2026. The Pentagon begins to release the new UFO files, which we've all been waiting for. After all of the mainstream outlets have been discussing how Christianity is going to be blown to pieces because of this. Notice how it's only specifically about Christianity, though. No other religion is in this mix. We're not talking about Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, for example. Only Christianity is the only religion that we need to focus on. So on the new Department of War website, war.gov/UFO, you can see all of these photos and you can download PDF files. Like, what the fuck is this? Seriously. It even says that it's an actual site photo with FBI lab rendered graphic overlay. This shit is fake as fuck. I will be the first person to say it. I've been saying it. I'm not saying aliens aren't real or anything like that. But if the government is going to come in and try to tell us that this is real and is going to blow Christianity to smithereens, are we not just tired of this same old message? And yeah, there's some documents that you can download. I'm not even going to touch these. It's not like people never lie or like make shit up. My gripe that I have with this is I'm not going to trust whatever the government tells me about aliens anyway, unless one comes down from a UFO and says, hey, let's go grab like Starbucks. I want to try McDonald's. I'm not going to eat the McDonald's, but I'm going to be like, yo, dude, if you really want to, you traveled light years to try McDonald's, bro. I think you need to reevaluate your priorities. But still, like, what the actual fuck is happening in this country right now? This is beyond stupid. And I mean, this is becoming nonsensical. These ancient alien crowds, the star seeds, the Galactic Federation people, whatever, they're going to take ancient artwork like this. This is probably supposed to be the sun and the moon. And they're going to say that they were UFOs or some kind of like, when in the Bible does Jesus Christ or any of his disciples or anybody that's mentioned talk about aliens? Where is that? And before you all say Book of Enoch, Anunnaki, all that crap, like, guys, you need to go do some philosophical reading. Go do some psychological reading by Carl Jung. Understand archetypes. Understand higher level ideas of energies and emotions and how people back in the day saw those types of things. Anger could take hold of somebody, and anger could have been associated with Jupiter or Thor or Zeus or whatever. And these are all archetypes. They're all ways to explain life all through the evolution of human society and history. Going this far with this alien nonsense, this is going to destroy culture in a very bad way. Look, I have an online university with 60 courses that describe in detail all of this stuff. And before you get spiritual psychosis from the aliens thing,
All right, y'all. Well, all of it didn't have sound, D will, because it was some music. So I couldn't play that music without getting hit with some type of copyright. So I don't know. They claim more is going to be released. All I have to say, they got off to a bad start for me with these images, and I'm not downloading that stuff they got out there on the war.gov. I don't want it, but I did want to see some of the video footage. But if the rest of it is like what they first released, forget it. I just don't see how this is worth anybody's time. I don't think anybody's opinion changed about whether they believe in these life forms being out there or not. I don't think this footage and the information would change anybody's mind. You know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. I did want it to at least show it. If they got something really interesting on there, like they are high-fiving a gray or something, yeah, I'm gonna show that. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, man, not good. So y'all, we got Bible study coming up at 1:45. So some of you I know I will see then. Some have a wonderful afternoon. Have a wonderful afternoon. And then I have another live, but that's not going to be until much later. I have another one coming up, and that is how the court ruled on Donald Trump's global tariffs as being illegal. But, y'all, the damage is done. Even before the war, the prices were high because of all these tariffs Donald Trump sent out worldwide. We pay for those tariffs. And he pretty much wrecked the economy with those tariffs. And then when the war came along, it made everything far worse. It's like every time I go out, the gas prices get higher and higher. The food prices go up. And it's like, there's definitely no light at the end of this tunnel, that's for sure. But we'll talk about that in a little more detail at 5:45. So everybody, Shabbat Shalom. Again, thank you for all of the support and all of the kind words you had to say about my second year in business. May the Most High bless you 1,000 times over. And I really, truly mean that. So everybody, I will see you later. Have a wonderful afternoon. Shabbat Shalom, family.